Did you know that discussions about Britain rejoining the European Union are gaining momentum once again? A recent debate brought forward strong arguments about how Brexit has affected the country, and whether reversing that decision could actually strengthen Britain. At the forefront of this conversation was Rosalie Chapman, who highlighted the real consequences of Brexit and why rejoining the EU might be the best path forward. But what exactly was discussed? Let's break it all down. No one is claiming that the EU was ever flawless. However, Rosalie Chapman and her supporters argued that Britain was better off as part of it. From economic trade and scientific advancements to national security and global influence, they believe that Brexit has stripped the UK of significant benefits. Now, the long-term effects of leaving the EU are becoming clearer than ever before. 1. Of the major promises of Brexit was that it would bring financial relief, specifically an extra $350 million per week for the NHS. But what's the reality years later? The NHS is struggling more than ever. Ambulance wait times are at record highs, hospitals are overwhelmed, and staff shortages are worsening. Rather than improving, the situation seems to be deteriorating. So what happened to all the extra money that was supposed to be allocated? And it's not just the healthcare sector that has felt the strain. Brexit was sold as a way to strengthen the economy and secure new global trade deals. But in practice, things have become more complicated. Small businesses that once thrived by trading with Europe are now drowning in red tape. The fishing industry, which was promised prosperity, is facing serious difficulties due to new trade restrictions. Meanwhile, exports have declined, foreign investment is decreasing, and many jobs have been lost. Chapman argued that Brexit hasn't lived up to the promises. It has made economic growth more challenging. Consider this. Before Brexit, UK businesses had easy access to the largest economic market in the world. Now, trading with EU nations comes with customs delays, additional costs, and logistical obstacles. British farmers are struggling, and manufacturers are losing European clients. And what about immigration? Despite promises of reducing numbers, net migration has actually increased since Brexit. If leaving the EU was supposed to resolve these issues, why do they seem to be worsening instead? It's not just businesses that have suffered. Young people have too. Before Brexit, UK students had access to the Erasmus program, which allowed them to study across Europe. That opportunity? Gone. Job prospects in EU countries? More difficult than ever. Scientists and researchers who once collaborated on major European projects are now facing barriers to funding and participation. Britain, which was once a leader in European research and education, is now missing out. Chapman emphasized that Brexit has stripped away opportunities, particularly for the younger generation, many of whom weren't even old enough to vote in the 2016 referendum. During the debate, the opposition argued that Brexit was about sovereignty, regaining control over laws and borders. But Chapman countered with a crucial question. What is sovereignty worth if it leaves us weaker, poorer, and with fewer opportunities? Even some longtime Brexit supporters have started to acknowledge that things haven't gone as expected. Take Sir Desmond Swayne, for example, a staunch Brexiteer who initially dismissed concerns about economic setbacks. However, he later admitted that the trade barriers caused by Brexit have become a monstrous burden. If even Brexit's strongest advocates are reconsidering their stance, what does that say about its success? Another key figure in the debate was Baroness Claire Fox, a vocal Brexit supporter who has often argued that leaving the EU was a step toward independence and free speech. But Chapman pushed back, questioning whether the UK truly has more independence now. Before Brexit, Britain had a voice in shaping EU policies. Now it must accept EU regulations without any influence in their creation. So, has Brexit really delivered more control? Or has it simply led to greater isolation? So, the big question remains, can Britain rejoin the EU? According to Chapman, not only is it possible, but it might actually be essential for the country's future. Of course, the process wouldn't be simple. The EU would set conditions and negotiations would take time. But the key argument is this. Do the advantages of being in the EU outweigh the difficulties of Brexit? If leaving has created more problems, for businesses, workers, students, and families, is it time to reconsider the decision? Public opinion appears to be shifting. More and more people are starting to question whether Brexit was the right choice. And as time passes, discussions about rejoining the EU are becoming louder. The question now is, what do the British people truly want for their future? Now we want to hear from you. Should Britain push to rejoin the EU, or should it remain independent despite the challenges? Do you think Brexit was a mistake, or was it the right decision? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth discussions on the most important issues shaping the world today.